stand up. I want everyone to stand up and shake it out a little bit here. Come on. You just had a break. Shake it out. Come on, up on your feet. You people in the back, what are you doing hiding back there? Come on. Just feel it a little bit. Feel the flow. Has anybody heard of Caitlin Clark? Thank you. I heard today, this is a true stat, she scored more points this year than the entire Iowa football team did in 4 years. Quiet golf clap for Caitlin Clark. How cool is that? What do you guys think of the venue? Happy hour is in 1 hour. And when the place is named after a drink, it's probably gonna be pretty good. So we'll try to make this compelling and fun and get you on to happy hour. How's that sound? Okay, great. All right, this is my buddy Don Sklenka over here. He's new to us, just came over from Dentsu. We bought an AI company. We're gonna tell you about our journey, okay? We're gonna first define something that I'm calling the AI hype cycle. I made this up, so, but I'll share that with you and what it is. And then I'm going to recommend that you guys get co-pilots for your journey. Get some help. Don't try to do this on your own, okay? We started middle of 22 on this acquisition that we're going to tell you about. So lots of help is required in the AI space. Then we're going to walk through our journey, and then Don's going to walk us through some cool use cases, okay? And then at the end, I'm going to give you the ultimate co-pilot. How many people, I'm going to just tease it out right now, know Rex Briggs? Anybody heard that opportunity, that name? He's our chief, thank you, Al Schulman, you're the man. Rex is our chief AI officer, and we'll build on that when we get to it. All right, so let's establish what the AI hype cycle is. And we're gonna use the NVIDIA stock chart to do that. It's a shared experience. Can anybody tell me what they think it is? How long it's been going on? About 6 quarters. Okay? And what transpired to start the AI hype cycle? Number one, OpenAI launched ChatGPT at the end of 2022. By January, they had 100 million users. Okay? And you can see then what happened to NVIDIA. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I was blown away by this, and I went searching for co-pilots, okay? So there's lots of people use the term co-pilot in AI. This is simply people that can help you through and navigate your journey, just like we navigated ours, okay? All right, so let's talk about a first co-pilot. Can anybody tell me who these guys are? Anybody? Come on. Podcast, who said that? All right, sir, stand up to that mic. I want you to tell everybody who they are. Can you do that for me? I'll even give you a little assist with the names up there.
They're the besties.
The besties, yes. Now go through who they are. Come on, let's just share your knowledge here.
I have to like name each of them?
Yeah. There, it's on the board, man.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Chamath, Dave, J. Cal, and David Friedberg.
Okay, Chamath Palihapitiya, David Friedberg, both those are billionaires. Thank you very much. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, you're cool. Thank you. David Sachs and Jason Calacanis are centimillionaires. Between the 4 of them, they got about $3 billion. This is a free AI course every Saturday. They tape on Thursdays, they publish on Fridays. I listen to them when I work out on Saturdays, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you the very first thing I learned from them. Way back in Q1 of 2023, they were discussing NVIDIA's pole position in AI because of their legacy in graphics. They said their chips are ideal for the AI revolution. So what did I do? I went out and bought several hundred shares of NVIDIA. And look what's happened, 3.5x in the past year, okay? So that established them as a credible advisor to me. I am telling you, and it's not investment advice that they're giving, guys, but if you listen to these guys, they'll not only help you keep current with AI, but you're gonna find tons of other gems and nuggets throughout this thing, okay? I'll give you another one that I just got this weekend when I listened to it on Saturday. There's a lot of discussion now about when AI is going to take over and become a sentient being, and these guys are saying that in 3 years, you'll be able to buy a $100,000 robot that will fold your laundry, do your dishes, and cook for you in 3 years, okay? Now, the counterpoint to that came out at Davos by Meta's chief AI officer, Jan LeCun. Sorry, I typed that stuff on the plane. It's a little sloppy, but Jan LeCun said, a 4-year-old has 50 times more data than the best LLM right now, a 4-year-old. And he did that, an actual calculation using visual perception versus text, okay? So it's fascinating. On one hand, there's these predictions that so much is going to change, but on the other hand, especially the generative side of the equation is very, very nascent, okay? So be careful on the generative side, but we're going to show you some use cases that use machine learning that can do things better than humans can, right? And those are generally good use cases for AI, and my buddy Don's going to walk us through a couple of those. Now let's talk about this journey. I was just talking to my buddy Al Schulman, who remembered me from 30 years ago at Procter & Gamble. My journey to this meeting started on my 30th birthday in 1994 when I walked into Procter & Gamble from the US Navy. I had been teaching at the Naval Academy. Thank you very much. I did another 16 years of reserves, retired as a commander in 2010. Loved every minute of it. But the first guy I met in business, Al, you'll remember this guy, Mike Nazaro, my CEO of Claritas today. 30-year friend, and I've reported to him as a CRO across 3 companies for the last 20 years, okay? That's where my journey began. There are 2 companies totaling 14 years before the ones I'm about to show you. The first one was BuzzMetrics. We sold to Nielsen in 2006. Does anyone remember BuzzMetrics? Anybody? No? No? No, they merged it with a consulting firm, and it was out of business in 2 years. What a disaster that was. But the second one persists today. We got acquired by Nielsen, and we were the founders of Nielsen Catalina Solutions, which pioneered digital targeting, in-flight optimization, and measurement. How many have heard of Nielsen Catalina Solutions? Okay, good. So, but we didn't own that one, guys. We did not own that company. And so Mike, who's a graduate of the Harvard Business School, went to his section mate at Harvard, Tyler Zackham, who was a principal at Carlyle. 4 of us left with no guarantee of anything, and we looked at 100 companies to buy, and in 2017, we acquired Claritas. We were looking to broaden it and modernize it. So our first acquisition was Geoscape. Alex Pineda, are you here? He must be in the hallway. He was a Geoscape guy down here in Miami. Multicultural data, so that broadened the Claritas segmentation offering, okay? Then we set out to modernize with a modern identity graph. So we acquired Barometric and Acquire Web. Barometric was device-based measurement. Acquire Web is omni-channel execution. So from Claritas, you get geography, demography, behavioral, attitudinal, psychographic, 10,000 variables, very rich profile. But from the identity graph, you get device ID, mobile ad ID, very importantly, email in terms of identity. Think of an identity graph as rows. Rows are households and people, columns are all the characteristics. We now have one of the most robust identity graphs in existence, and that's the first 6.5 years of Claritas. And in September, well, and let me just pause before I bring up the next acquisition. In September, we acquired an AI company, which I'll tell you about in a second, but I want to make a key point. Up to this point, we had 15 quarters in a row of double-digit growth, and we're the #1 performing tech company in Carlyle. So why did we need to go and do an AI acquisition? Well, because we have a big vision for AI that I'll walk you through, and Don will walk you through. ArtsAI was the #29 company on the Inc. 5000 in terms of growth. And we are now basically taking what has been our legacy for the last 6.5 years, the IDO framework, identify, deliver, and optimize, and we're infusing AI across multiple use cases throughout the company, okay? And I'm just gonna give you a little teaser of what that looks like on the next slide, and then I'm gonna have Don come up and talk about a use case that I think is gonna be in 2 years the standard, called AI personalization. Okay? So here's a little glimpse of the future.
is changing marketing. Marketers, agencies, and media owners want a system that connects them with consumers so they can understand them and personalize the experience like never before. They want AI to improve business results. They need AI to remain competitive. Claritas delivers an integrated marketing optimization platform to help marketers identify the right audiences, reach them through the right channels with the right message, and optimize results in real time.
So a little marketing hype there, but the point is we're now going to show you some of those very real use cases and how we're applying the ArtsAI technology. Don, as I mentioned, comes over from Dentsu. He was the leader in DCO. And we've now taken the leader in DCO, Dynamic Creative Optimization, and married that leader with a better capability. Don Sklenka.
Thanks, Jay. So a little bit of an intermission here. Show of hands, how many of you all have heard of DCO or Dynamic Creative Optimization? Huh, that's good. For the past 5 years or so prior to coming to Claritas, I would come up on stages just like this. I would be at events just like this, touting and speaking about DCO, its benefits, use cases, tactics, strategies. As a matter of fact, I was on a panel at Cannes last summer talking about the future of DCO with AI. And that's, Cannes is really where AI just exploded from a marketing perspective. It was in every single session, nonstop. And I don't think we realized, even at the time last summer, the velocity and the trajectory that AI would have and the impact it would have on the ad tech world. And I gave you this as a bit of context before we kind of dive into some slides. Because, again, working with DCO so often, I was asked this question, and I'm still asked this question every day: is the juice worth the squeeze? For those of you that have used DCO and stood it up, you understand that you have to set up a significant amount of decision tree nodes, if-then statements, change the way that you buy the media, have your creative team create a creative version for every single node that you have in that decision tree. And you got to optimize with tests and A/B tests, and you got to drop underperforming creative. That's a very, very manual process. It's kind of archaic now to think about it. So I say that as, what is next? What is the next opportunity beyond DCO? So we love our acronyms here in the ad tech world. So we call our product AIP, AI personalization. This is really the next evolution of DCO. So what our AI actually will do is at every impression that is being served in a paid media program, every impression will have a decision behind it. That decision is going to be made by AI that's saying what content and what experience is best for that individual user. And all that's going to be happening in real time. And the AI is going to be able to adjust to cultural events that are happening in real time, any kind of contextual signal. We are not a decision tree. We do not have if-then statements. We do not have logic from a human perspective. That's too slow, quite frankly. It's too much time. Is the juice worth the squeeze taking 4 months to stand up a DCO program that you're probably never going to touch again? Again, I came from this world. This is what I did for 5 years. I would stand up here and talk about what to do with DCO. That is where, as Jay was talking about, how can AI help replace things that humans were doing and they're doing it too slowly? So again, our technology allows for that. It is predictive and probabilistic on every single impression that is being served. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of an exercise here. If you all could stand up real quick. I know Jay already had you stand up once. I know if you guys could stand up again, I would really appreciate it here to have a little bit of an exercise. I know we got 10 minutes, so it's okay. Now, if everyone could just walk around, honestly, just in any direction, if everyone could just walk around for a little bit, just, wherever that may be, walk around, that'd be appreciated. Thank you. All right. We could stop there. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Everyone, if you stay standing. So if we treat this room as a paid media audience, all right, there's a lot of kind of chaos going on. All right, there's a lot of people in different areas, people in different parts of the room. Some areas in the room no one's at. Some areas are really globbed together. All right, now if everyone can take their seat again, if you remember where you're seating. This is what our AI is doing in real time, what you are doing right now. So a standard media approach is you'd have a large audience, okay? That large audience could be 18 to 44 households with pets, decent amount of size of audience. Standard approach would be we're gonna put a bunch of creative in there, rotate it, and maybe we'll use DCO and optimize to the best performing creative, something along those lines. That's a pretty typical standard approach. What our AI actually does is take that same exact audience, take this room, you guys are all standing up, and what it actually will start to do is create cohorts. So you're now sitting at 15 or 20 different cohorts. Everyone's at a table, everyone took their seat. The AI has actually organized that messy, chaotic audience and identified features and feature sets based on metadata, based on our Claritas identity graph, based on weather signals, based on first-party data, based on third-party data. The AI is doing all that in real time. Imagine doing that with a decision tree. That's a very, very manual process. From there, the AI actually will then start to match and create models. So we have a regression model. This is an ad experience. We will create a regression model for every aspect of the ad. So that could be a template, it could be background, that could be headline, that could be call to action. In audio, it could be a script, it could be voiceover. In a video, it could be end card, it could be a bug, it could be scenes. All of these are elements of an ad experience that the AI is creating models for. Those models go through two phases. They go through a learning phase and an earning phase. Every single element goes through these modelings. The model is saying, is there enough data that we understand where the cohorts are at? Is there enough data that we have statistical significance? Is there enough data that we are confident in the models? The AI will actually turn from gray to green in the dashboard once we have enough data and the models have been trained. From there, the AI will then start matching. So now everyone at their cohorts, at their tables, not only would that table that you're at get a specific ad experience, but it'll also recognize individual content elements for each person sitting around that table. Again, all that's happening in real time and it's evolving. It's not just you set it once and forget it. The AI is constantly evolving, constantly updating. So what you see here in this graph is a depiction of volume share. So you have some circles on this graph that are bigger, meaning the AI has decided that more volume for that creative is going to that cohort. You have smaller items. Our belief is that there isn't bad creative. In the DCO world where I came from, I would literally sit up here and say, we're gonna put 4 audiences in market, and we're gonna put 4 creatives in those audiences, and we're gonna find the best creative for each one of those audiences. That was my actual statement. Now what we say is that we wanna make sure that every creative and every impression has the best possibility and probability for matching. Because everyone has a preference. If everyone said what their favorite car color was in this room, I guarantee you there's gonna be a significant amount of variations. But why would we put in a DCO decision tree? We're in Fort Lauderdale, it's 4 p.m., so serve this color car to everyone. That's a decision tree. That's an old way of thinking. What our AI is actually doing is identifying features that each individual person within that cohort would react best to from a probabilistic outcome. And it's transparent. So we're seeing what decisions are being made. It's not just a black box. You can see what's working, what's not. You can see the optimization status, how much more can we wring out. Our AI is also telling us predictive performance. Like, what if we suppressed underperforming cohorts? How could that help our performance? And finally, we also have a control at every line item that we have in our media program, which means the AI is actually learning against the exact same creative that's in market, but it's randomized. So the AI is literally going, how do we constantly beat this control? It's the same creative, just randomly distributing that creative. If you have 4 creatives or 100 creatives, it's the same creative. So there's no difference between the control and the AI cell. The AI is always learning against that control. And it can do this against any digital KPI. So it can be your basic clicks, it can get to single game purchase, it can get to quote starts, it can get to app installs. All of this is what the AI is optimizing towards. And what this is about. This is about reducing waste and increasing performance. From a waste perspective, that could be wasted time, wasted energy, wasted dollar, wasted impressions. From a performance perspective, that could be from creative performance, that could be from media performance, understanding what's working, what's not, understanding what audiences are working from a data perspective. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to combine what's working and what's not. We're trying to reduce waste and increase performance. And when we go back to, again, DCO, I wanted to pull up this slide here, to talk about the depth of which our AI is actually working. And there's a lot of combinations of elements of our AI. There's regression models. There's how we encode the data with one-hot encoding, and we make everything binary. The idea around unsupervised learning to make the AI models train and learn about what data is working, what's not. K-modes clustering, which is the exercise that you guys just did where you stood up and you stood back down and you sit in your cohorts. AI is doing that. So all of these different elements of our technology, they're all working together. And so this is why when I started that conversation with you all to say that we don't do decision trees. We don't have if-then statements. We have a spectrum of creative, and we say let the AI work with your creative as you think it is best for that media program. And so this is, again, what we want to talk about is the evolution of our product set.
Thank you, Don. So what we are doing right now is, in parallel with our current products, building an AI version of Claritas that does audience optimization, media, creative, identity, and measurement. We have 3 of those products out the door right now. You just heard about AIP. We also have AI-driven audience optimization at broadcast TV and radio. If you want to learn about those, let Don or I know, and we can hook you up with the right people. But it's a very, very dynamic and very exciting space for us. So I want to leave you with what I think is the ultimate co-pilot. I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about co-pilots, one that I use, my wife happens to be an AVP with Salesforce. Salesforce really has it together on AI. Multiple companies, the follow-on presentation, Amazon is doing great stuff too, Google, Meta, across the board. So if you can leverage some of those contacts as well, I highly recommend it for your own AI journey. But the one that I will get my top recommendation is our very own Rex Briggs. He and his son Caleb are publishing a book through the MIT Press. And you can go out, scan the QR code, and that will, Patty Glad, lead them to getting the book, right? And within that book, there's an assessment that can show you and your organization how you're doing in terms of your understanding of AI. Highly recommend that. I'm going to tell you, I had been following the All In guys for a year when I took that assessment, and I got an 18 out of 100. Like, I thought I knew about AI. I didn't know about AI. So post-test, I got it up to like in the 60 range, but post-training. But it's fascinating, the concepts you'll learn as you go through it. And we can actually, at some or in future sessions, connect you with Rex as well, and I know a lot of you already are. And with that, I think we'll take questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to remind everyone, you're welcome to come up to the microphones in the room. I know sometimes you think, my voice is loud enough, I don't need to go to the microphone. Please go to the microphone. We have well over 100, I think 150 plus people actually watching online, so we want to make sure they can hear everything you have to say as well. And also, I can't see the questions unless I go back here. So I love this informal thing you've created for
100%.
us, but the questions are back here, so I got to at least sneak back here. Yes?
Hi, I thought I heard you mention that one of your inputs was third-party data. Hasn't that become taboo? And how much do you depend on third-party data?
Yeah, I can take some of that. So, we have, first, we have default data, which is the metadata, and then we can add on Claritas data, because obviously we have our own data from an identity graph. Then there are what I would call optional data adds. And that's where it's up to the advertiser. It's not necessarily our call. So for instance, for GDPR, we have to clip the last 4 octet of the IP address to be privacy compliant. So if the advertiser wants to leverage some level of third-party data that's publisher data based, we want to pass age and gender over, that would be up to them. It's not us from a push perspective. It's whatever data you want to use to enhance the AI optimization from a cohort perspective. If you have first-party data that can be passed through a macro, we can also ingest that as that cohort creation as well. So it's a fair question. We are actually, so to answer it in a quicker fashion, we are not using and pushing third-party data. It's an option if the advertiser wants to add it on to our cohort creation.
Well said, nothing to add.
Awesome. I want to remind our folks at home, you can submit questions within the app and also within the web platform, and we do have several coming in, but I just want to remind folks they can submit questions that way, as well as you're welcome to come up to the microphones here in the room. Let's take the next question. Do you think AI creative gets cyclical or repetitive versus human creativity?
So the best part about this, I want to be clear. We want creative differentiation in our platform. In the DCO world, we would say, got to be templated. Create a template, put everything in that template, put everything in the box. We actually want to have a significant variety of creative. Now, we are not a Gen AI platform. We don't care necessarily how the content is given to us. It could be human generated, it could be synthetic audio, whatever that may be. But I want to be clear that the best part about this is for the AI to learn. We want to have significant variation. You want to have ads with humans in it. You want to have ads with products in it. You want to have different layouts, different background colors. We will actually prefer your creative team to have that creativity. That is what will drive the AI to make decisions. So, that's, I guess that would be my answer. I don't know if Jay, you had anything else to add there.
Oh, that's perfect.
Terrific. Next question. What sort of errors have you seen to be weary of within AI identifying these cohorts?
Yeah, so if this room, again, if we treat this room as the audience, so if on a paid media perspective, if this is the room that we're buying, our AI is not going to go outside of this room. Okay, it's going to stick within the parameters from the media buy. We are not affecting the media buy. We're not changing your reach. We're not changing your frequency. So this is your audience. We actually aren't going to be going out of this realm. So we are going to stick within the realm that we are given. Within that realm, the AI is going to identify cohorts that are more probabilistic to essentially convert. So it's not really necessarily an error because it's going to be the same audience that you're buying. We're doing nothing different with that audience. We are not adding to it. We're not removing it. We are simply grouping it as identifiers of what tables might have in common, what people might have common within that table.
Anything to add?
There's some really good questions coming up on the board behind you, Don. I'm looking at them.
All right. Very good. There's two. What common insights have you noticed many marketing companies are looking for, and what does that mean in the marketing industry as it relates to AI?
I'll go first.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're getting them all there, bro. Don didn't mention this, but we've done about 365 tests. ArtsAI is an 8-year-old company. They've been doing this for a while. The mean average is 107% lift for doing this. And it's only about $1 for display. So the payout's crazy. And so in terms of, the number one thing is how much can I improve what I'm doing, And so people are, I think I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I've ever seen a topic, and we've bought a lot of companies over 20 years, resonate so much. I think in our first 6 months, we have 114 engagements out there right now. And everybody's like, wow, if I can pay an extra $1 and improve my results by 100%, I'm going to want to do that. And so that's one area where I've seen just universal response. Don, anything else?
I don't remember the full question, and I lost it.
I got a question for you to go a little deeper on that. On those 114 engagements you just described, are you seeing significantly better performance in specific verticals? And if so, which ones may they be?
It can work in any vertical, and what we're really pushing the envelope now on smaller campaign sizes.
Right.
And so now you're going to have less creative diversity there, fewer different types of creative on a smaller campaign, but it can work in any vertical. Okay. And oh, by the way, Claritas is a U.S. only company. This is the one capability that's global. We can do it anywhere.
Got it. Good.
Can I answer this bottom one first?
Sure, take it away.
So what happens in the cookieless world? Love it. I wanted to mention this, again, from the DCO strategy. One of the key parts of DCO was you would have a dynamic remarketing strategy, right? I'm sure you've all experienced it. You go to a product's website, you see that product, you abandon that process, boom, you're thrown an ad with that product in it. That's a dynamic remarketing strategy. What that takes, you have to have a cookie in place and a pixel in place so the cookie and the pixel can talk to each other. Cookies are going away. Our solution is a completely cookieless solution. We are not using cookies to identify this. This is all a pixel-only solution. And again, no cookies are being used in our world. So to answer the question of what are you doing, that's what we're doing. We have evolved from that world of dynamic remarketing where you have to use a cookie. Sorry, I didn't mean to usurp that. I just thought I wanted to make sure we answered.
Hey, Don, take the top two. Those are both related, and I actually want to hear your answer.
So one of the main ideas about...
If you don't mind, Don, let's recite this for the people that may not actually see
Should I
this.
read?
I want to make sure,
Okay.
yeah. Can AI test creative effectiveness? Want to make sure everyone gets what you're speaking
My
to.
bad.
No, good. All good.
That's why I'm not the MC. So can AI test creative effectiveness? 100%. But we want to actually take it to the next level. So back to the idea that we don't really view it as bad creative or good creative. We feel like the idea is how do you match the right creative with the right person? So one audience in one location might not react best to certain creatives, and another audience, another person, another location might react better to that one creative. So the idea is not to necessarily chop the creative off and say that this is the best creative and this is the worst creative. The idea is to actually look under the hood a bit and what features are best to that creative, what DMA is reacting best to that creative, what are the other data signals around that creative. So all of that is available in our dashboard where you can actually filter by the elements of the content and identify what elements of that ad are best available for the entire audience. But yes, you can 100% say this creative has the best conversion rate across the audience, but anyone can do that. I mean, I'm just, again, like that's just a natural thing, but to take it to the next level, that's what we're doing is it's not just a best creative, it's what's best for everyone in the audience individually. That's what we're trying to get to.
So Don, the next one's actually a build on that, and it's saying, what are the limitations of doing that?
What are the limits?
Of analyzing competitors' creative.
Oh, so yeah, we're agnostic. So we literally we're not going to load a competitor's creative or anything like that into our platform. That just wouldn't make sense. There are platforms out there that you can do a pre-launch qualitative measurement, so you can upload the assets to kind of give you a sense of how they would perform. That's what I would recommend for that. But we are not one that would take a competitor's creative, upload it, and so all of our models are bespoke. Every AI model is for that campaign. We're not using previous campaign data. We're not using competitor data. It is for that campaign, so it starts from scratch at every time. For that reason, we don't feel like we want to be using any kind of previous learning data and/or creative data from another client.
Awesome, and we have just enough time for that final question up on the board. What is the LOE for creative teams to produce the volume needed for effective DCO in your platform?
I want to be clear, DCO, we're not DCO, all right? So the idea would be the volume for our AI to optimize to. And again, this is a completely shift in the ad tech world. DCO, it took forever to get DCO brand awareness. Now we're shifting away. But the idea would be, again, it's actually relatively simple. It's multiplicative. So take one ad, one template. You have 3 call to actions, 3 headlines. That's 9 times 3 images. You're at 27 already. So it's really not that much of a lift. It's an equation based on volume. So if you have, say, 40 million impressions, we would recommend to have 50 some creatives in market. So we're not talking about thousands and thousands of creatives, which is another thing that happens in DCO. You create these exponential decision trees, and you end up with just way too much creative, and it actually bogs down the performance of the media campaign. So sorry, I know we're over.
Nope, absolutely perfect. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This was fantastic. Really appreciate your time.